First big lake encountered in the 100-mile wilderness. Prime spot to find the moose, but don't see any. It's also a good spot for water source if you need it. I'm okay right now. In Maine, and in some places in New Hampshire, the trail goes through areas. This is what constitutes as grass up here. It's Alpine vegetation, and it should be treated like coral in Key West. You don't touch it, you don't walk on it, you don't step on it. If you do, you'll kill it. It's a lot like coral. As a scuba diver, it always distressed me to see people standing on corals or kicking it with their fins. Here, you just avoid it. The trail's plenty wide enough to get through it, but it's so pretty. And you only see it at these high altitudes. A great deal of respect for nature up here. There's an ecosystem here that most of us will never understand. And I guess I'm blessed that I get to see it via the Appalachian Trail. And a lot of hikers would agree that it's a highlight of any hike to see this kind of stuff. It's really pretty. This is where I've picked to sit down and have lunch. I don't know how deep that goes over there. I'm gonna have to go over and explore it. But suffice it to say, there's hardly a place nearly as pretty as this to sit down and just have lunch. Weather's been cooperating, hasn't rained yet. Expected a little shower from Ida today, but so far it hadn't materialized, so my fingers crossed.
Okay, so you covered it in my face that you can roll yours 5 times and close it.
Manners and Hot Feet are attempting to ford this river via rock hop upstream. I was told that it was possible by another hiker going southbound. I chose to take the rope across, and of course I wore my shoes and socks in, which meant I knew it was going to get wet. I almost went in the drink twice. This is going to be good. Oh, come on, Hot Feet, you can do it. One big jump. One big jump. Nope.
Several months later.
I think I'm going to let him do it first.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Hey, made it. He's going to pole vault. He made it. Damn, he's going to be the only one with dry shoes. Yesterday I started the 100-mile wilderness. It was pretty easy climbing. A lot of rocks, a lot of roots, slows you down a little bit. Made about 15 miles. Got to a shelter. I had the shelter all to myself. There isn't a soul out here. Even southbounders. I expected to see some southbounders. I saw none. I saw a few on the trail, but none here at the shelter. So I'm the only person here, which means I didn't pitch a tent last night, which was good because it rained hard all night last night. We're still getting remnants of Ida here. Today, right now, looks like blue skies and sunlight, so I'm hoping that the worst of Ida is past us, and that I've got nothing but blue skies for the next couple of days. The first 50 miles, 58 miles of the wilderness is hard climbing. The last 50 miles or 42 miles are actually pretty easy, I'm told. So I'm looking forward to that. The 100-mile wilderness, I plan to do it in 6 days. I've got a food drop coming on day 4 for 4 days worth of food, and that should get me all the way to Katahdin. But I have to pick it up between 12 and 2. They hand it to you. It's not something, I thought it was, they put it in a 5-gallon bucket and buried it and told you where to find it. It's not like that. They deliver it by car on a logging road, and they will not leave it because of bears. So they will only give it to you if you're there in person, and you must be there between 12 and 2 on the day you said you were going to be there, which for me is going to be Monday, 2 days from now. Today is Sunday, Saturday. Today's Saturday, I think. Anyway, the logistics of timing something like that when you don't understand what the terrain's going to do to you is you know, guesstimating at best. But I hope I can make it. I don't have much choice. If I want the food for the last 2 days of this 100-mile wilderness, I better be there on time. It rained last night. I expected the rocks to be all wet this morning, but they're not. So that's a good sign. Means I can walk up the sides of some of these things. Ground's a little damp, but I don't see any mud. So that's a good sign. So got a lot of good signs this morning. It's just gonna keep going up. As long as the sun stays out, I'm a happy camper. I can take the heat and the humidity a lot easier than I can the rain and the cold. It's about, I'd say it's in its mid-40s this morning, which isn't bad for hiking, but only if you're going uphill. You stop to water up in a river, 40 degrees is damn cold. Oh, go this way. Maine is beautiful. I'll give it that. I've said all along, every state's got its personality. Maine is roots, rocks, and rivers. That's the mountain I'm headed towards next. I don't have very many mornings left like this, but this is how I stopped to take a quote-unquote second breakfast. And the views are spectacular. And I'm really sitting on the, or standing on the edge of a cliff. There's a little bit of a rock jetty over here, and then it goes straight down. But boy, is that beautiful. 21. It's 6:30 in the morning. It's about 55 degrees, maybe 50. That water's probably a lot colder, and there's no way across it other than to get your feet wet. I'm gonna have to take off my shoes and socks because I'm not about to start the day off with freezing cold shoes and socks. I just put on dry socks, for God's sakes. So I'm gonna have to ford a river. There's no rock hop across this one. There's not that far, but gosh, I hate starting off with cold feet. That was some icy damn cold water. About shin deep in the middle, but cold. And I'm wearing just my camp shoes just to save my hiking shoes and socks. You know, Maine's got a lot of rivers, and a couple of them you're forced to walk through like this. Most of them I have left my shoes and socks on because they were getting wet and muddy anyway. But this is a day where I'm hoping to stay dry because I'm going up a lot of mountains, and it's not likely that I'll encounter that much mud. It hadn't rained in a couple of days, so ice cold water. This is written in moose poop. I don't know what it says, if that's U-R or O-R. I don't know what that says. This is E-X-T with an abbreviation point. I don't know what this says. So, somebody figure it out for me. Whitecap Mountain, the last mountain before Katahdin. Okay, I'm on Whitecap Mountain. I had to get out of the wind. The wind is somewhere in the 40 to 50 mile an hour gusting range. It's pretty brutal. I had to get out so I could call and confirm my food drop. I got a food drop due tomorrow at noon, about 20 some miles from here. So I've still got miles to make today, and then again tomorrow, and I should be there no problem. I just took what might be my last bath on the trail, right here in this swimming hole. That's the falls that feed the hole. That hole is pretty deep, maybe 8 or 10 feet right in the middle. Myself, Green, and Big Bird. Took a quick bath, and now we're back on the trail. Food drop is about 3 miles away. We're about halfway through the 100-mile wilderness. Joe Mary Road. Honey bun!
Oh boy, this is the city.
The gathering of the hikers.
Okay, I just left Joe Mary Road. That's where the food drop is. Let me explain how that works. At Shaw's Hostel in Monson, you use their you can use their store, which is upstairs, and get as much food as you need to get through the 100-mile wilderness and beyond. So I bought, you know, basically 7 or 8 days worth of food, 4 to carry into the 100-mile wilderness, and then 4 to carry, had to have them deliver it. They put it in a box, and they drive it out here on a logging road. They had several hikers who had done the same thing. It cost $80 to have them deliver the food. And I probably had, you know, $30, $40 worth of food. You have to be here to pick it up in person between 12 and 2. And I got here right at 12. They were already here. I was the last one to get my box. There were about 8 people that had a food delivery, but there were about 15 here at the road. We were all kind of hoping there'd be some trail magic today, but there wasn't. So they're all making plans for the final push. We're 50 miles from A-Ball Bridge. Another 15 will get you to the top of Katahdin. The 50 miles to A-Ball Bridge, I hope to cover today and tomorrow. So I've already done 10 miles just to get to Joe Mary Road. I'm gonna do another 10 today. That'll put me at 20 for the day. Tomorrow I'm gonna attempt a 30-mile day. I've never done over 24. I've always wanted a 25. it never worked out. I've got a 24.9, I think, twice. At any rate, if I can pull off 30 tomorrow, I'll be at A-Ball Bridge within 15 miles of Katahdin, and I'll be basically a day ahead of schedule. That'll give me a little leeway. If the weather is bad, then I'll summit on the 10th. If the weather is good, I might summit on the 9th. I've got to call Birches to see if I can get at their camp, which is at the base of Katahdin, so that the day I summit, it's only 5 miles up and 5 miles down. Otherwise, I would have to hike from A-Ball Bridge 10 miles and then 5 miles up and 5 miles down. That's a long day. And, you know, a 6,000 foot hike at the end of the day is not what you want to do. So, again, a lot of logistical issues to worry about. But for now, the goal is knock out 10 more today and then see how we do for tomorrow.